Hello, good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, May 27th, and I do have a number of sales going out today. I already picked everything out of the inventory because I think it's 10, maybe 11 items, and I didn't want to, it would take too long to pick all this on camera. So I pulled it all. Here it is right here. It's all ready to go. We're going to start packing it here pretty soon. This deck of cards, here's a deck of cards right here. Two decks really. I have several of these vintage cards that are up for sale, and this one I made a mistake in where I keep the inventory location in my eBay listing. I put it in the custom SKU field. I'm sure a lot of you use it for the same purpose. I typically put in the custom SKU field on eBay, which is a special field that your buyers can't see. It's only for you to see. You can put whatever information in there you want that will help you do your business. So for me, I put in the location where the item is stored. That's the most important piece of information. Then I put how much I paid for that item, where I purchased it from, and the date that I bought it. So all of that stuff comes in useful, especially the location, and then having the price that I paid for this item in there helps me to determine if I want to send out an offer, how much the offer should be, if maybe I don't want to send out an offer at all, if I want to accept an offer, that kind of stuff. Having the date that I purchased it in there helps me to figure out, because sometimes you might be listing and relisting items, ending and relisting items, and then you don't have a record in eBay when that item was originally listed. So having the date of purchase in there lets me know, like, I've had this for a long time and it's time for it to go, or it's time for a massive sale on it, whatever, So I use all that information. The only one I don't really use is the location I purchased it. Like it might say GW for Goodwill, or ES for estate sale, something like that. I just keep that information in there just for my own edification. It's just kind of fun to see it. So today I had put in a wrong location in the custom SKU field for this deck of cards. So last night I came down here to pick everything before getting ready to pack it this morning, and I could not find these cards. I have 3 sets of those left. They're exactly the same, and they're in the same location. And it's a box. I might as well just show you. We'll go down the hall here. I had it labeled in this box in my custom SKU field, and it was not in there. So I started going through all of these boxes, on both sides here. I was checking my cube here just in case I put it in there. So I had written in the custom SKU field H3, which stands for this box. And so I went through everything. I probably spent, I don't know how long, maybe 40 minutes taking everything apart and looking for those cards so that I could ship them to the buyer. And I got to the point where I couldn't find them, and I thought, I'm for sure just going to have to refund this buyer their money and take the eBay hit. But I decided, okay, first thing in the morning, I'm going to come down and I'm going to go through all these boxes again. So I started doing the exact same thing. When I found it wasn't in here last night, the next box I went to was this one, and then, down this row, and then all of these over here. This morning, I opened this one, and it's like literally right on top of the box. So I spent 40 minutes yesterday trying to find those cards, and they turned out to be in the very first box that I looked in. So that sucks, but in any event, I found them. Hopefully the buyer will be happy with them. I won't have to take the hit, and they're ready to get packed. So let's do that packing right now. Okay, we're back and we're just about ready to pack, but first I'm going to put in the sales from Saturday, Sunday, and Monday onto this. These are basically everything that we're going to be packing today. We're going to put all this stuff onto this tally board where I'm keeping track of everything that's sold on which day of the week to figure out which day is the best day for the number of sales. So Saturday we had 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sunday just 1, which is a surprise because last Sunday we really had a lot. or comparatively a lot. So, and then Monday 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So a little bit disappointing sales numbers this weekend. For the holiday weekend, I kind of expected there to be more sales, but we just had this is everything from Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So only 10 sales from those 3 days. So could be better. It's not great, but could be worse, I suppose. And they, for the most part, they don't add up to a huge amount of money either. This box that's just been sitting here turns out to be exactly the right size box for this Dremel tool. But I'm going to pack these things in the order that they came in to keep myself organized. Okay, I'm just going to close everything in my phone, open the eBay app, and look at paid ship now. Okay, let's start at the bottom. All right. These are, whoops, that's bad, possibly bad. I don't want to break this glass piece. These are some pieces from a board game, replacement parts. This is a game called Betrayal at House on the Hill. Another board game that I purchased that didn't have all of its pieces included. So I'm just trying to recoup the money that I spent on purchasing that board game, and I will make money on this. I'm sure I paid $2 for that whole board game or less, even at the Goodwill, which people are always complaining about how expensive it is. Board games are typically $1.99 or at the most $2.99. The stores, the ones I go to anyway. You hear a lot of people complaining about the prices at the Goodwill, and I don't have any problem with their prices. I have found plenty of things there. Those thrift stores are my bread and butter, really. You know, I prefer to go to yard sales if I can, but I live in Chicago and we only have yard sales possibly 3 months of the year, and around where I live they're not that common, really. You know, I think it's a lot of working people that don't have the time or inclination to prepare. You know, it takes a lot of work to set up a yard sale, and the time to set it up and the time to run it, it's just not happening that much around here. And when they do happen, there's not a great system for advertising those sales. I made this a little bit too big. So my only real option to look for sales being advertised is Craigslist, which is not what it used to be, I guess. You know, I don't see that many sales listed on there. For me, like on a good weekend, I might see listed 3 sales. The other problem around here is people do things differently than what I'm used to from where I grew up. I mean, I only grew up about 60 miles south of here, but people seem to understand that if you want to put a sign up, you just put an arrow pointing to it. Put a signs up with arrows pointing you directly to the street where the sale is at. But around here, people put signs up in various locations, just listing their address. And if you're driving down the street, like you are, you know, like you typically are when you're looking for garage sales, you see a sign that has an address on it, and you're driving 25, 30, maybe 40 miles an hour, you can't get that address. So even yesterday on our way home, there was a sign pointing down an arrow pointing down a street. And I asked Jessica, you feel like stopping here? This is only about, 2 blocks from home. So we turned there, drove along. There's no sale. So that's the other problem, is a lot of times people just decide, they put their sign up and then they just decide not to have the sale after all, but they don't take the signs down. So I would estimate, if I have a list of, let's say I find a list of 10 sales that I want to go to. When I get to them, at least 5 of those 10 just don't exist. They just decided not to do it, or they changed their mind or something. Betrayal. I'm writing on here, betrayal for the game Betrayal at House on the Hill. Anyway, thrift stores, in my experience, are fine. You know, I'm not buying the stuff that's expensive. I'll just pass that up. This I've had only since February. I think I got this game at the Goodwill bins, so it's probably really cheap. So this particular set, I must have, I would have averaged out the cost of all the different pieces of the game. I paid 23 cents for this set of 6 game pieces. And that was just in February, so not incredibly long ago. And I sold it for $7 plus shipping. So that's only 3 ounces. It's going to be small. 6 by 6 by 1. And it's going to a buyer named TH. This is just in Ohio, so it shouldn't be too expensive to ship. Okay, next up is this. Where's that piece? Okay, there's a little piece, a little round gasket I'm going to have to find. I think I probably left it on the shelf where I stored this. There it is. Dropped it. Okay, I can't remember exactly how many of these light fixtures I had. So let me try to hold this together. So it's a vintage light fixture. It's like this, like Art Deco-ish. I think it's probably from the 30s or 40s. The company, I'm not sure if it's called P&S Alabax or if Alabax is the model, like the name of this particular style, or if Alabax is the company, or if P&S Alabax is the company. I really don't know. But I got a bunch of these and a bunch of other stuff as well from a convent. There was a Catholic church here that closed down several years ago. They finally sold the property and they're getting ready to tear down everything there. So they had a sale, get rid of everything that's still inside the building. This, the person running the sale, I've been to a few of her estate sales and she's not my favorite estate sale agent. In fact, she's my very least favorite. The first time I ran into her, I was at an estate sale and I was literally the only person in the house. They were going to only be open for one more half an hour and then that was going to be the end. The sale was over. Nothing has prices on it. So I found a snowsuit, like a vintage full-on snowsuit, and a pair of scissors. That's all I could find to buy. I knew that snowsuit was going to be worth about 60 bucks, maybe 70 on eBay based on the brand and the vintageness of it. So I thought, and then the scissors were probably worth nothing, maybe $4, maybe more. Maybe they were like $15, I can't remember. Anyway, I brought those items to her and said, okay, how much for these? And then she got her phone out and started looking up eBay prices. And she said, well, I need to know what these are worth before I can give you a price. And I said, well, if you're trying to sell them to me for what they're selling for on eBay, then I'm not going to be able to purchase that. And she said, what makes you think I'm going to charge you eBay prices? Like, well, you're looking up the prices at eBay right now. And so she did look them up. Of course, she didn't really know how to do it. She wasn't looking at the sold listings. She was just looking at the current listings. And she didn't look at the brand of the shirt, of the snowsuit. She was just looking up generic snowsuit. Anyway, she told me, you can have both of these things for $40. And I said, well, no, thank you. And she was really, really mad at me. Wasted her time. But I mean, the sale is over, like literally over. There's nobody here. Anyway, The next time I ran into her was at another estate sale. Of course, she's an estate sale agent. I'm trying to find a small envelope. I know where I have some. I have some really small ones here. I'm just going to put this little gasket thing in here. The second time I ran into her was at an estate sale, and I found some. I don't even remember for sure what they were, but they were KitchenAid. It was like some KitchenAid attachments. And again, I did the research and I saw how much they were worth. And they were worth about, I mean, not much at all. Maybe $10 to $12 for the both of them. You know, each one maybe was $10 or $12. So I brought them to her again and I said, you know, how much for these? And she said, oh, anything that says KitchenAid on it is worth buku bucks. So I need to have at least $30 a piece for those. So again, I put them back. But at this church sale, it was multiple buildings. There was the church itself. Then the second and third floor of that building was a school, used to be a Catholic school. So that's a lot of ground to cover right there, but also the convent and the rectory were both part of this sale. And each of them was 2 stories plus a basement. And she was there by herself trying to run this sale. And again, nothing has prices on it. You just take what you want, bring it to her, and then she tells you what she wants you to pay for it, which is not a reasonable way. Like, I'm going to spend hours digging through this stuff and then bring it to her and have her tell me I need to have $1,000 for it. In any event, I found some stuff and I bought it, and then I asked her about the fixtures on the walls. And she was like, oh yeah, nobody's buying any of that stuff. I don't know why. Everything's for sale. But if you didn't know, if you weren't aware that the stuff was for sale, how would you know that you could just take the light fixtures off the wall or the handrails off the stairs or whatever? Sinks. There was this incredible sink there. I assume it was for some kind of baptism. And I came back the second day with tools to take that sink, and somebody had just smashed it. Like, they just took a hammer and broke it. I'm not sure why they would have done that, but there was a lot of stuff like that at the sale. Like, there's a lot of glass interior walls that were made out of glass, and they just smashed them with, I don't know, people are crazy. Anyway, she was running this sale by herself, and I went back, I think it was on the 3rd or the 4th day, and there was, again, I was the only person there. Anybody who had been interested in anything at this sale had already bought whatever they wanted. So I went there with a toolbox and I took down every light fixture that I thought was, I mean, these are old light fixtures from the 40s. And this is an old convent built a long time ago. I took them all. The ones where I couldn't take the entire fixture, I took the globes, like the glass parts that cover the bulbs. And these were the winners of the bunch. These were selling for around $100 each. I think I got 12 of them. Anyway, this one, when I took it off the wall, I dropped, there's a little ring that screws on where the light bulb goes in. You put the globe against the fixture itself, and then you screw this little porcelain ring to hold the globe together with the fixture. So I dropped that porcelain ring and I broke it in the bathroom at the convent. So I listed all the other ones, and I've been searching for a replacement, but these are too old and too specific, and I couldn't find a replacement piece. So I just decided to list this without it, disclose that it was missing that part. And it went pretty quickly. It sold, well, I put it for $45, $48. I figured at this point I've made so much money. I sold those other ones all to one person who was restoring her house to original condition, and she wanted these particular fixtures. So anyway, I listed this one, said that it's missing the part that you need to hold it together. And I put it for $45, maybe $45.99. I think basically within 2 hours, somebody offered me $40. And I know it's worth more than that, but I just sold it. Like, just get rid of it. And then I look at that buyer, and I could see he has an eBay shop where he only sells light fixtures. And they're all very similar style to this. And most of them he's selling for like $350, $450. So I suspect he's gonna, he bought this for me for $40. He's gonna sell it for $250. I feel like he probably could have just paid the full $45 I was asking, and probably still come out pretty well, but whatever. It's out of my, this is out of my hands now. I don't have to do any more research trying to find that missing piece. This is exactly 4 pounds. And I've made a lot of money off of that church sale. In this case, by the time I was done there, and like I said, I was the only person, I think she was just fed up. And she just basically told me to take everything for a nominal amount of money. I don't remember exactly what I paid her for everything, but it was as close to free as you can get. Okay, that's done. So those fixtures are all out, and that's the last one I have. I'm sure I still have plenty of stuff from that church sale, but I have sold quite a bit. I got a lot of books there, like cool old religious books, and maybe that's the first place where I realized that people buy old Bibles and old religious texts. Okay, that's not big enough. Maybe that's way too big. Okay, this looks right. Yeah, this is good, and it's double walled, because I'm gonna put these 2 glasses in here. Is it big enough? Yeah, it's big enough. So these are some Klein Tools glasses. They have the logo for Klein Tools. I got these at a garage sale. It was a strange sale where I went into this garage and there was nobody in there. And then somebody came walking in from the little side door, like from the backyard of the house. And I said, "Oh, hi, how are you?" And she said, "Oh, I'm fine." And I said, "How's your day going? It's a nice day for a sale," whatever you say to people when you go to their garage. And she was saying, "Oh, yeah, beautiful day, great, great sale, whatever." Then I asked her, "How much do you want for this?" And she said, "Oh, I don't live here. I'm just shopping like you." So I'm not sure what she was doing in the backyard, but it turned out to be a mistake, that she was just trying to find some junk to buy just like me. Anyway, the lady who was running the sale finally came in. She had these for $2 a piece, and I asked if I could get them for $2 for the both of them, and it was a no-go. So I paid $4 for these. And it wasn't that long ago. I mean, it was over a year ago, or almost a year ago. June 28th. It feels like just yesterday. I can remember this sale very clearly. Anyway, I bought these on June 28th. And I had them listed for $24.99 for the pair. And again, I got an offer of $20. And I just took it. Like, this has been almost a year. Especially this month, we're getting closer and closer to meeting our goal this month, which is basically just to match how much money we made last May. If we can get the same amount. I'm trying, like my goal this year is to get more. You know what? I think this box is big enough. I don't have to put these together. I was going to try to cram them together so that they couldn't bounce around and touch each other. But this box is plenty big to put paper in between them. And so I think right now we need to earn, let's see, sell through, I can tell you exactly. I need to earn, this is before the shipping cost of these things, so let's just say $300. We need to earn another $300 before the end of this month in order to match the same amount of money we made last May. So $300, how many days? Just like 4 days. It's possible. But with the way the sales were over this previous weekend, probably isn't going to happen. I was expecting the sales for the holiday weekend to be a little better, and I also put a Memorial Day discount in my shop that was 15 or 20% off anything that was older than 3 months. Just for the holiday weekend. And I expected to get quite a few sales from that, and I only got one. One sale, that was on Sunday. Okay. This is my last roll of paper, so usually when I get to the last one, then I'll order another one. So I probably should get on the ball and get another roll ordered. I was talking a week or two ago about the expectation of shipping materials going up based on tariffs. And I was planning to buy a bunch of stuff back then before the tariffs really went into effect, but I never got around to doing it. I don't really know exactly what kind of materials I need right now, so I didn't know what to buy. But I'm going to use a lot of paper today, and I just have this last roll, so I probably should buy paper. I mean, it's anybody's guess what's going on with these tariffs. I just heard yesterday they're going to be pushed back again for another 6 months or something, so it's pretty wild. I guess I'm setting this video in a specific time period, talking about tariffs 5 or 10 years from now. Maybe nobody will even remember. Okay. That one went on kind of bad, so I'm going to put another piece. And I'm going to tape the bottom. I typically, if I remember to, I'll re-tape the bottom on these boxes that have been shipped before. That's fine. Okay, Klein, Klein. This is 4 pounds. I'm going to put 3.5 because it's closer to 3 than 4. It won't take me much longer to try that weight and see if it's cheaper. 12 by 11 by 10. This is only the third one. There's one more that's going to take a little bit of work, but the rest of these are going to be pretty easy. LL. good. Next. Okay, I got a ton of Craftsman sockets. There was a yard sale. Did I put these in an envelope? Yeah, it'll be fine. There was a yard sale I stopped at, and I can't remember exactly how much he charged me, but he had just like a big table, like one whole table filled with mostly sockets. I mean, some other tools, but mostly sockets. And I asked how much for these tools, and I think he said $1/4 a piece. I'm pretty sure he said $1/4 a piece. So I looked through them for a while. I picked out all of the ones that were made in the USA. You know, that's really what I'm looking for. And they're mostly Craftsman. There was one other tool that was, it was like a wrench for scaffolding. And that one was made by a company which I believe is a subsidiary of Snap-on. So anyway, once I sold that one tool, I paid for all the rest of everything that I bought there. But I bought quite a lot of stuff. I can't remember exactly what he told me, what the price was, but I do remember he said, well, let's say he said $7, and I said, well, I'll give you 10. Something like that, but it might have been like 13 and I'll give you 20. Anyway, I bought a bunch of sockets from this guy. And some of the bigger ones, like the really big, like 1 1/4 inch sockets are worth selling on their own. And that one single socket might sell for $25. So I sold some, I listed some on their own, I listed some in lots like this, like small lots that match up. Let's see, these are metric, so it's a 12, 13, and a 14, 3/8 inch drive. So anyway, I bought all those from this guy, and then on my drive home, as I was coming home, there was, I wouldn't call it a yard sale, but just like a single table in somebody's front yard that had 4 or 5 items on it, and one of them was a big set, like a red box with Craftsman sockets in it. Like these old ones made in the USA are, I wouldn't recommend buying Craftsman sockets now for resale. I'm sure they do fine if you need to turn a bolt or whatever, turn a nut. I see this box is bothering me. But if you can find these older ones made in the USA, there are people that collect. I think they started making them in the 40s, maybe even the 30s. So there are people that collect, like they're trying to get every wrench one version of every wrench that Craftsman ever made, or whatever they know. They know, like this one has this number on it. I forgot how much that weighed already. 4 ounces. Only 4 ounces, pretty light. 9 by 6. 9 by 6 by 3. So there are people that collect to them, and there are websites that tell you everything about them. And luckily, Craftsman always puts these like model numbers on everything. This is going to RC. So it's really easy to figure out, to search for and figure out what you've got, and then essentially what it's worth. So these I paid, according to my notes here, I paid 90 cents for these. So I'm averaging out 30 cents per socket. So 90 cents for those 3 sockets, and I sold it for $16.78. So that was that might have been the sale item, or that was a 15% offer that I sent out, something, I'm not sure exactly, but definitely would have been cheaper than full price. Okay, now on to these cards that I spent so much time looking for. I only sold them for $10, so as much time as I spent looking for them was kind of a waste. I thought I had a perfect box for those. Did I bring it in here? No. Yeah, I had a little box that like folded over, but I don't know what I did with it. So we'll use something else. What do we have left? Okay, I'll get a couple of boxes ready for the next couple of listings. All right, I'm gonna use these So I got a bunch of these decks of cards. They're from like the 70s, Hallmark. They were at a St. Vincent de Paul store, and I think they had like 6 in a package, and they were in a bag and then wrapped with tape, so you could only see the one that was on the top. And the one that was on the top was Snoopy and Woodstock, you know, Peanuts characters, which I know are popular characters, and I thought I could definitely sell those. So I think there were 6 in a package for $3. In the end, I paid 40 cents for these and all the rest of them. Once I got them home, I opened it up. That Snoopy one was the only one of that style. And I thought I wasn't going to be able to sell any of the rest of these, but they have been moving. I think I only have 3 decks of these cards left, and I started with 12, 10 or 12. I can't remember. Anyway, these only sold for $9.89. So I definitely sent an offer on these this morning. I would have had that at $9.99 or $8.99. No, 9. Maybe they were $11.99. I don't remember. So only $10, but I only paid 40 cents for them, so you can't really complain. I figured these are small, easy to pack, easy to mail, easy to store. By the time I've sold all of them, I was going to make $60 or $70. So, not much of a story on these, but yeah, they are kind of cool. I am drawn to vintage decks of cards. I'm not sure why. They don't really have much value, but I just last Friday or Saturday morning, I picked up just around the block for me. There was a sale. There's a house that's been empty since we lived here, and they had a sale selling off. You know, they've been cleaning the house out slowly, so they just sold what was left in the house. And I got a pack of Wisconsin Dells cards that I shouldn't have bought them. They're not worth anything at all. Like, I'll probably struggle to sell them for $6. But they looked cool and they're brand new. So I think I probably paid. That's another thing where I paid $10 for everything I bought there. And I got 7 items. So what is that, $1.40? $1.40 something per item. $1.49. I don't know what it is. But yeah, I bought the deck of cards just because I wanted to. And I'll sell them for, I think I'm going to list them for $6.99. All right, cards. 14 ounces, under a pound. This box is 10 by 7 by 3, and these are going to JB. So one more down. Oh, okay, what's next? All right, this I already got a box ready. This went pretty fast. I just listed this a few days ago. Let's go back to May. I could tell from in my SKU I put the date that I bought stuff, and then on this spreadsheet I have the date that I actually listed it. So this was listed on 5/20 and sold on 5/20. It doesn't tell me, but it sold over the weekend, so 5/25 or something like that. So less than a week this sold. It's a Dremel. This is like an old Dremel. It's just a stand you attach to your workbench, like a clamp, and then you can hang your Dremel on it. So not the most exciting tool, but brand new in the box, never been opened. I would guess they still make this exactly the same. This one is probably in a box from the late 90s. That's my guess on it. Yeah, I got this. I got it at a yard sale. When? On the 16th, May 16th. I got this and a stapler. This is one of these sales where you ask a price and they go, oh, I don't know, I don't know. I got this, a stapler, and something else. A little plastic garbage can. I sold that already. I don't know. The stapler has not sold yet. Might not even be listed yet. I can't remember. But I bought 3 items there and I sold 2 of them within a week. That's pretty good. So I think I paid $4 for this and I sold it for $35.99 plus shipping. I pretty much always use calculated shipping, or for smaller items, I just use a flat rate shipping. I have experimented with free shipping and I just haven't had, it doesn't seem to increase my sales in any way. So if I do calculated shipping, I have very little anxiety that I'm going to accidentally lose money on something, you know. It seems like the few times I have tried to do free shipping, the buyer who eventually buys it lives in Alaska or Hawaii or something like that, and it ends up costing so much money to ship that it's probably not worth it. I mean, it's definitely not worth it in some cases. I have, in the last few years, I don't think I have had any sales where I actually lost money, except for ones where let's say I bought a lot of, well, the example I'll say is guitar pedals. Like somebody was selling a bunch of guitar pedals and I wanted some of them for myself, but I didn't want all of them. So I buy the whole lot and then sell the parts that I don't really want, just to get some of my money back. So in that case, I would lose a little money on an item, but that's sort of the plan, the expectation. Dremel, 2 pounds, 2 ounces. Probably could get this under, get those 2 ounces out, but I don't think I probably could. Let's 2 pounds, 2 ounces. Excuse me. This is 13 by 6. And it's going to FK. All right, next. This is the other one I said was going to probably be a little bit of trouble, because board games, they're just usually not in a size that's convenient for any kind of boxes that I have. I don't know if this is going to help keep those things in place, but it might. I was thinking about putting a Ziploc bag in here with these things, but I only sold this game for $18. It doesn't seem like it's probably financially prudent to add any extra expense to this, even the cost of a Ziploc bag. But maybe this will hold it down. All right, I'm going to take this with me and try to find a box it will fit in. I have a lot of this size box comes from work, and these are good for a lot of purposes, but they're not convenient if you want to resize them. And this is a case where I would want to resize this. So, because the way it's made is like one big flat sheet, and then instead of like a normal box where there's a seam on the bottom, they put the seams on the sides. See? But I get a lot of these. I have access to a lot of these from work, so I don't want to pass them up. And then this is glued together. So if I wanted to, what I'd like to do is make a score there, and then fold these flaps over. But since it's double walled right there, I can't really do that. But I'm gonna try it anyway. Okay, this is about about here. I could just throw this in here and put a lot of paper around it, but like I just said, I'm on my last roll of paper. And I don't want to put a lot more expense into this game because it's only sold for $18. So what I hope to be able to do is get this second layer of cardboard that's glued in here off. But they really glue these good, so I don't think I'm going to be able to. But I can just keep forcing it to bend. There it goes. There we go. I bend it out, and then that makes it easier to bend back in. The other thing about these boxes, this cardboard, it feels normal, like when you're touching it, but when you bend it like this, it's like it cracks more like plastic than cardboard. It's very weird. Okay, there we go. See that? See how it just snapped? Strange. Okay, anyway, let's get this box in here. I'm gonna use paper all around instead of bubble wrap. Okay, good. My notes on this game say that I got it out of the trash. I don't remember that, and I have a hard time imagining I would stop my car for a board game if I saw it on the side of the road. So my assumption is sometimes I have picked up stuff from the trash, and then there's just other stuff there that I wouldn't normally go for, but I'll just grab it anyway. So that's my assumption, that I picked up something good, like, I don't know. Like maybe a couple of weeks ago I sold a Harley Davidson motorcycle seat that I got from the trash. So maybe I would have seen that, jumped out of the car, grabbed that, and then this board game was sitting on top of it, so I just took that too. But that's not the true story, but I don't have any recollection of picking this board game up. So I don't know where it came from, but the point of the story is I got it for free from somebody's garbage. I don't remember where, but that's where I got it from. And not even that long ago, in January, so I have like no memory at all of this. But I sold it for $18.56, so not bad for something that was free. But this box is a pain. The size of the box is gonna make it potentially be a little more expensive, but I think these boxes are specifically designed to be under 20. Yeah, it's 20 by 15 by what, 3? Write that on here now. 20 by 15 by 3. Sorry, it weighs a little bit, close to 4 pounds. 3 pounds, 3 ounces. And it's going to EV. It's not even in the greatest shape. The box has a split in the lid, and at least it has all the pieces, which is surprisingly rare to buy or find a game and it has all the pieces. I would say at least half the time I bring a board game home from the Goodwill or whatever and pieces are missing. I always wonder, like, what are people doing with these games? Why are they deciding to not put everything away when they're done playing it? It doesn't make any sense to me. Okay, I'm covering all of these old labels. Just want to, I mean, maybe I shouldn't even talk about it because I get irritated, but I did recently have a comment on a video telling me that this was a waste of time to cover the labels, that I should get a heat gun and heat up all the labels and then remove them that way. Like, I don't understand how that could possibly be faster. First of all, I don't have a heat gun. I'm not going to buy one just to remove labels. Secondly, how could it possibly be faster than that? And these labels are so cheap. These particular ones I got for free. Even if I was paying for them, they're so cheap, it would be fine to just put a label over something like that. All right, next. I got 4 or 5 of these old TurboTax CDs, and I knew there was like one, the most recent year where you could just use it over and over again. I don't know what year that is. I'm gonna guess it's like 2015, where they didn't have to buy a new one every year. Is highly sought after. Like, you buy it once and then you don't have to ever buy it again. So I saw these at the Goodwill. They have 4 of them. This is from 2018. I think there were 4. And I sold the other 3 prior to tax time. And it was like, I bought these, like, let's say I bought them on April 10th. Well, I'll know exactly when I bought them. Let's see. I bought them on, oh no, I bought them in January. But anyway, it was already time when maybe people are thinking about taxes. So I wanted to get them listed as quickly as possible so that people who are trying to find this old software to file their taxes this year would be able to buy them. And the other ones sold for a little more. I think I sold some of them for like $22, $24. This one only sold for $11.89. But I only paid $1-ish for it. And like I said, I sold the other ones that came with it quickly. This one I'm kind of surprised it sold. Like, I'm not sure who's doing taxes at the end of May. But it did sell. I was sure when all the others sold and this one didn't, because the other one sold before April, before the tax season ended. I was sure this one was just the black sheep, and I would end up throwing it in the garbage or redonating it or something. But it did sell. It's just been sitting here for a couple of months. Somebody needs it for something. I don't know what, but they can have it for $11.89 plus shipping, so not too bad. Into it. 5 ounces. 11 by 9 by 1. And who's it going to? MP. So I put all this information on here, what the item is, how much it weighs, the size of the package, and then the initials of the buyer. So on the eBay website, you can purchase your labels, and I'll use this information there. I'll look to see this Intuit disc, and then I'll enter in the weight and the size of the package. That'll tell me how much the shipping label is going to cost. And then once I print the label, the only information I have, I mean, there's a lot of information to go on, but I choose to write the initials of the buyer on here, and then I can match the label with the name on the label. I can match these initials with the name on the label, if that makes sense. Okay, right now I have these 2 People magazines. They're not that old. This is from 2024, May of 2024. And I mean, I don't sell them for much, but where I work, sometimes there's a counter, and sometimes people drop stuff there that they don't want. And somebody left a bunch of magazines. So this is the exact same issue, but it has two different covers, a variant, the main cover and the variant cover. This this one features, what's her name? Sofia Vergara on the cover. This issue is called The Beautiful Issue of 2024. So there's two copies of the same magazine, but with different covers. So I sold these for $9.17. Like, I just picked them up off of the counter for free. So $9 is not a lot of money, but all of that money adds up over time. So it's not too bad. So the buyer, I'm a little worried about this one because he sent me a long message describing exactly how he wanted me to ship these magazines. And like I said, they're $9. What he was asking for, a little too intense for a $9 item. But I'm gonna do the best I can for him. So what I typically do if I'm sending something flat is just put it in a wrap, basically. But I normally like to have the corrugations running this way on one side of the wrap, and then opposite to that on the other side, so they're perpendicular. So it decreases the ability to fold the package. You know, you can very easily fold along the corrugations, but it's harder to fold it against the corrugation. So I would do it one sheet one way, one sheet the other way. I think I'm gonna go ahead and do that with this one too. I'm just gonna cut this off. I'm not gonna wrap it like I was just showing. I'm going to go ahead and make 2 sheets of cardboard. So yeah, this guy asked me, put them in bags, put boards in the bags, then put it within 2 sheets of cardboard, then put it in a package, and then write on the package, do not bend, which is another thing I'm leery of. I know, like, I have a lot of respect for the working people of the USPS, but I also have worked in places where deliveries get made, and I know that sometimes people are disgruntled with good reason, and then with bad reason they take it out on the customers instead of their bosses or whoever. So I have seen with my own eyes people looking for packages that say fragile and dropping them from a great height or throwing them from a great distance, or, you know, many other types of things. I never worked in the USPS, so I'm not saying that for sure happens with the carriers or the sorters or anything like that. But people are people, and sometimes people need to get their aggressions out somehow, and they might take it out on a package that says do not bend. So I'm trying to figure out if I want to put a third piece of cardboard on here to make it even less likely to be bent. Of course, that's going to increase the weight and potentially increase the cost. But, and like I said, this is only a $9 sale. The person was very nice about his request. He said, he started by saying, I'm sorry, and saying, you probably don't like for people to tell you how to do your job. And then he ended by saying, I apologize again for seeming so high maintenance, and saying I have had bad luck in the past. And so he's just looking out for himself, so I don't really hold that against him. So see that once I have the cardboard going in both directions, I mean, you could certainly bend it, but it's pretty tough. And if I have 3 layers of cardboard plus those magazines in the middle, you know what I might do? I don't know. I don't think I have any envelopes that are big enough to fit this in, but I was thinking I could also put it in an envelope like that. That won't add any extra weight, really. I can't guess how other sellers ship things. I do the best I can, and I think I do a pretty good job, but based on some of the comments I have received, I could do a better job, I guess. But you have to walk a line between the best possible shipping scenario and the most practical one, and the most financially responsible one. So, you know, if I want these boxes, if I want these packages, if I want these magazines to get there perfectly, I could put a sheet of metal in here. You know, that might be the best way to do it. Put a sheet of steel in here. No one would be able to bend it. Then the package weighs 20 pounds and it costs $40 to ship it. So that's not a good plan. I could put a fourth sheet of cardboard on here. I have the cardboard right here. I could do it. How much extra weight is that going to add? How much extra tape will it cost to tape it all together? You know, using this cardboard's not necessarily free. I either spent my time to get it free or I bought it, you know, these are the options. So this is exactly 1 pound. I do not want to go over 1 pound, so I'm not going to put another sheet of cardboard on here. It feels pretty solid. So I want to keep my buyers happy. I don't want to send them anything that gets broken in the mail. So far, I have not had that happen. That has never happened. The only time I ever had even somebody suggesting that something was broken, it was somebody trying to scam me. The only time I've had somebody trying to scam me as well, so I don't want you to think that there's tons of scammers on eBay, because there really aren't. I mean, I've been selling consistently for over 3 years. Before that, inconsistently for 30 years, and I've only ever had one person attempting a scam that was 100% sure I knew they were, and maybe 3 or 4 others where I suspected they were. Actually, I have one right now. I'm not going to talk about it, but I have one right now where I suspect someone is trying to scam me. People, what's going on? I'm putting 1.0. This is 13 by 11. Since he asked me to, I'm writing do not bend. But if it gets bent, it's not my fault. Okay, who is it going to? DA. So that's everything for today. Oh, nope. Here's another sale that came in. This is going to get packed up very similarly to this. White table. Oh, maybe not. Maybe it's smaller than I think. Oh, here it is. This is a small little book. This is a vintage, it says manual, but it's really sort of, it's like a product. It's not exactly a catalog, but it's like a list of all the products that Ibanez, guitar pedals that Ibanez put out in this Power series. I got this from a guy I met on Facebook Marketplace. He was selling stuff that I was interested in, and for exceptionally low prices. And And I bought one thing from him I bought a poster from him, a vintage Smashing Pumpkins poster for $15, and I think I sold it for $200 or $180 or something around there. And then it just happened, like I thought that would be the end of it. Like that guy sold me that thing and then we're done. But then I saw something else on Craigslist and I contacted the person and it turned out to be the same guy just by coincidence. And he was showing me, like, I've got this and I've got this. He was showing me all the other stuff that he had for sale and how much he was asking for it. The first time I had met him, we had a nice conversation and he seemed like, you know, a guy around my age with a similar experience to me and someone that I could potentially be friends with, you know. That's what I kind of thought was going to turn out. Maybe that would turn out that way. So, the third time, it happened again, a third time, where he was putting something on Craigslist. I contacted him, turned out to be the same guy. And I was telling him, like, you know, you could get a lot more money for this stuff if you just sell it on eBay. And he was kind of like, yeah, you know, I don't really want to mess with it. You know, I'm old school. I like to do things face to face. I like Craigslist. I was like, well, even Facebook Marketplace is going to be better than Craigslist these days. I was trying to tell him, and he was sort of like, well, maybe, but not really into it. So I was feeling like, I don't want to lose a source. Like, this guy has interesting stuff that's valuable. Almost everything that he has is like, it's worth a lot of money, but it has very slow sell-through rate. Like you got to find the exact right person who wants an Ibanez catalog from 1980 or whenever it's from. So this one sold today instead of all these others sold over the weekend. So this one won't count towards today's profits. It's only 2 ounces. Anyway, I did try to give him some advice on how to go about doing stuff on eBay, and I doubt that he probably did it. But I was asking online people, like, would you ever burn a resource by just telling them how they could do it themselves? And most people would say, no, I would never do that. But I don't know. I just felt like I can help this guy, and we could. I don't need to make $100 off of his 15. I don't know. In the end, I bought a bunch of stuff from him. The last time I talked to him, he didn't seem that interested in selling stuff on eBay or getting mixed up with Facebook Marketplace or anything. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get the bulk shipping tool on eBay open, and then I'm going to cut the camera and put all of this data into the tool and buy the labels, and then I'll come back and tell you about how much money we made. Okay, so we're back. I got all of the labels purchased, and I just put them on all the packages, put them in this IKEA bag ready to go to the post office. So as soon as we're done here, I'm gonna run over to the post office and get all of these things delivered. But first, let me turn this fan off. The camera, just when I stopped to do that, the camera gave me a message that it was overheating. So it's been running for quite a while. This is probably going to be a pretty long video. Let's go to the spreadsheet here, and then we'll just run through how much we made on each of these items and how much we made total for each of these days. So, all right. There were 1, 2, 3, 4 sales on Saturday, so we'll start with those. Some of these things I shipped before we went on vacation. So there's 2 books here that shipped, a Bible and then a book of Puritan prayers. Those sold for 16 something and 11 something. But then we'll start with everything we packed up today now. So the Betrayal at House on the Hill, the little game pieces, replacement parts, those sold after fees and shipping label for $6.61. And then the wall sconce that I got from the convent, after everything, we made $34.42. So with those 2 and the 2 books from early Saturday morning, we made only $69.13. Then Sunday, the Klein Tools, the two like pint glasses, after fees and everything, $12.33. That's the only sale for that day. So that's a very, very bad day. Only $12 for the entire day. Okay, then on to Monday. This was Memorial Day. I expected there to be more sales, but we just had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That was the Craftsman sockets. Those brought in $16.43. The Hallmark playing cards, $8. The Dremel tool stand, $27.22. The Sorry board game that I got from the trash that I don't remember, $15.14. And then the TurboTax CD, the software, $8.08. And finally, the two People magazines that the buyer really wanted to be protected well, we earned only $6.75. So the entire profit for Monday was $81.61, still below what I'm shooting for, which is at least $100 a day and hopefully more than that. So then the final thing was the Ibanez little catalog, the 4 guitar pedals. After fees and sale, shipping label, $30 even made on that. So hopefully we'll get some more sales today, and then we'll increase today's profits. But right now, this gives us for the month of May an average profit per day of about $75. So that number has to be higher. Otherwise, it's not worth messing around with. But most months it is higher than that, something going on in May. So the average sale per item is $18.96 profit. All right, let's quickly look at where we are now. So before the end of the month, we need to earn at least $335 to make this month as good as it was last year at the same time. So we only have 4 days. We have 4 days left. 27th, 27, 28, 29. I guess if we include today, because it's still in the morning, we have 5 days left. It's doable, but not if we continue to get these $12 days like Sunday. So we're going to just keep our fingers crossed that we're going to do well for the last few days of the month. But for now, we're just going to go to the post office and call this video done. So thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. Please leave any comments that you think are helpful, and we'll be back again very soon. Goodbye.